Salamat po sa intindi at sa tulong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Zubiri. Senator Gordon.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and for the privilege. Let me just ask my good friend, the distinguished gentleman from the Secretary of Tourism, the Secretary of Tourism, because he keeps saying DOT. May C sa DOT. It's DOTC. Wala na? So, dalawa na ang dot ngayon? Dalawa na, DOT? Sorry, I'm sad corrected. Thank you. Anyway, I got confused by the terminology. But anyway, just want to preface my statements by saying we became poor largely because we forsook all our opportunities in the past. Would you agree with that? And the principal, for example, examples of that is that we built a railroad here in 1887, finished in 4 years from Manila to Tuban to Dagupan in 4 years. And it was finished even before Jose Rizal died.
Yes, sir.
In fact, nakaliwa pa ni Kiping si Rizal. Naging boyfriend ni Leonor Rivera at naging asawa niya yan.
Mukhang hindi ko alam yun, sir.
Ito. Mahilig tayo mag-chismis. To edify my good friend here. Because, pangalawa, we had railroads everywhere. We had railroads to Antipolo, Cavite. We had railroads from Manila to Bicol called the Bicol Express. We had railroads between Argao and Danao in Cebu. We had a railroad in Panay, and we almost had a railroad. That was a sugar train. All right, I know you're from Sugarlandia, but we had sugar trains. But anyway, we had these railroads. All right, so to me, that was one of the biggest failures of our country. Because I'd like to ask you a direct question, because I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. We need railroads. Why did we lose the railroads? Can anybody answer that? Because I don't want that repeated again. Kaya na nagsabi, you need 30 years. Pero kung hindi itutuloy yung programang yan, mawawala yan. So I want this on the record because for 30 years, you want a 30-year program, that's good. I will support you on that. But because we lost all our railroads, naunahan tayo. In fact, naunahan tayo ng Hong Kong, which has a railroad going underneath the ocean. Singapore has a railroad going underneath the ocean. We don't even have, and when you say that, sasabihin dito, pag magagawa tayo yan, kukurakutin lang yan. That has become our, we're snake bit by that. I will not require an answer, although I know the answer. But it wasn't a necessity. Railroads, after all, are losing propositions. It's what we call a loss leader. Would you agree with that, with me on that, Noel? Secretary Quintanar? It's a loss leader. You lose money on it, but it creates, as you said earlier, Mr. Secretary, the opportunity for the poor to be able to bring their goods faster in a cheaper way than the others. Second, we had a modern airport in the past, the Manila International Airport. I'm just doing this for historical background, not because I want to be a pedant or a Philistine or a barbarian, because it's important. We had the Manila International Airport. We had 2 runways, it's perpendicular. And we didn't build any airport until we built Cebu, and Cebu boomed. That should be a lesson to us. Cebu was an airport of the Americans, all right? And it boomed. And then the bases were turned over. We took over Subic, we took over Clark. Clark was temporarily pillaged, but Subic went on, and we had FedEx. And we had FedEx flying 18 times a day. Big supersonic 747s, DC-10s, Airbus 304s and everything. They were flying every day. And then we lost it. We lost it. And today, Mr. Secretary, this is a complaint that I would like you to pay attention. I know you're aware of it because you are an avant-garde individual. Knowing your record, you know now that Subic has no airport that is effective because we lost our radar, which I bought from Westinghouse. It was not even insured. We lost it in a typhoon. We lost our ILS. I think it was lent either to the Manila International Airport. Please tell the truth. All right? That's why I asked about the ILS. We lost our DVOR. And I don't know about the DME. So we lost all that. And so when the plane when you had that asphalt peeling all out in Manila, they landed in Clark, and it created a gargantuan damage. Fortunately enough, it wasn't the fault of the current administration. The peeling off is not the fault of the people in NAIA. It is simply, every day, hundreds of planes, I don't know what the record is, pound over the Manila International Airport, kumakalabog yan every day, and no amount of maintenance will be able to sustain that kind of punishment because we have not used an opportunity called Subic and Clark. Would you agree with me on that, sir? Thank you very much. Having said that, it behooves us here, and that is why I'm going to go all out and support you. Be a spokesman, if you will,
Thank you very much,
Senate, and support you on that matter, because we lost our airports, we lost our railroads, and the only advances in the railroad so far was, by the way, done by the Macapagal Arroyo administration. When we were asked, our Secretary of Tourism, we should have an airport in Palawan. In Senator Drilon supposed Iloilo and got Japanese money for that. We got the airport in Silay. They were quarreling over title, Bacolod or Silay, and we got Silay. And then we got Nanindigan. Davao helped itself, and they had an airport, and that had to be remodeled again because you need to upgrade Davao because it's become the best airport in Mindanao. And so, therefore, we're going to have a Legazpi airport. But would you agree with me, when we build infrastructure like that, the concomitant responsibility is to provide investments. Because when you build that airport soon in Legazpi, or in Subic where we boomed with FedEx, or for that matter in Cebu where it boomed as an island in the Pacific, having flights from Japan to Cebu, we have to prepare also the mindset of the people for tourism and for investments. That is an accompanying thing. We're not just here to build infrastructure. That is why, Mr. Chairman, I dare say that this is not an emergency powers law that you're asking. It's being unfair to you. What it is that unnecessary. You don't need that because under the police power of the state, we have to protect the people with safe airports. We have to give them seaports. And by the way, our seaport has fallen behind. I saw somebody from the Philippine Ports Authority. When I was in Subic, Manila had 2 million containers. Hong Kong had 12 million container movements, and now Hong Kong has about 30 million container movements. Do you agree with me? Or maybe 34 million containers. And right now, Manila has about 4 or 5 million containers. Is that correct? And it's sometimes more expensive to get goods from Davao to come to Manila than to ship goods from Davao to America. Is that correct? I can see him nodding and let the record state that.
That's very correct, sir.
Yes, sir. Having said
In fact, you don't have to go to the U.S. Singapore lang, expensive.
Singapore lang, mahal lang. And of course, Singapore, a small city state with about 5 million people, and Hong Kong, a small city state, the size of Subic, both of them are the size of Subic, size of Clark, has beaten us in every department on the board. Beaten us in education, beaten us in investments. Number one sa investments on Singapore. I only cite this if only to educate the people out there, if they're listening, that we have to build our infrastructure. This is the physical infrastructure, and along with that, the economic infrastructure, and the legal infrastructure. We're trying to build the legal infrastructure here right now. Having said that, we do have, and I'm not saying this para to get better than you, and I'm glad you're saying that, we have to enhance the nautical highway. And that's what you're saying. We can connect the country through ferries. But, on the other hand, we cannot just have pipe dreams out there. We have to tell the public, taxes have to be collected so we can build the seaports that will accommodate the Roros. Would you agree with me on that, sir? Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Now, having said that now, Mr. President, let's go to the traffic in Metro Manila. Indeed, one of the reasons why the traffic in Metro Manila, for that matter, all over the country, have ballooned and have really created a crunch is because, well, you're right, the odd even. Sorry, Mr. Carlos. No? The odd even actually was a good way upon which the car industry got more cars. The other one was smuggling, if you will. Second-hand cars. We became the dumping ground for second-hand cars. And the more cars were bought, the more cars were on the road in Manila and everywhere else. So it's important that we put it all in context today as we discuss this Necessary Powers Act. So having said that, let me just put it this way. Our problems are land, traffic, sea, it's a crowded sky. We're fortunate nobody has banged up against each other. And that I'm glad I read in the paper that you now have a plan should another occurrence occur in Manila where people don't have to wait 8 hours, 6 hours on a plane on Clark because they cannot be offloaded. I'm sure you're aware of that because they don't have the resources for that. So I'm with you on that. We must make Clark happen right away. And you don't need a fantastic airport. We just need, if you need a tent to gather the immigration, customs, and quarantine. And Subic is a functioning airport. Like I said, it had 24 flights a week, charter at that time, and 18 flights a day. And right now, I have letters from Subic businessmen begging me, pounding on my table, saying, we have put in an investment here, and we cannot land the planes that we're going to repair in Subic. So I just want to make sure that my colleagues are aware of the necessity of this. Now, going to the traffic in Manila. First, let me go to the easy ones. Pag nagpalibing ang tao dito, though we need a law that will say, pag nilibing mo, i-deliver mo na muna yung tao doon sa Memorial Park o sa La Loma para hindi na tayo magta-traffic. Would you agree with us that that day has come? Hindi ba, naglalakad tayo doon, magta-traffic na yan, di ba? Hindi ba, ang isa sa ating mga naging problema rito nung araw may train tayo, we had the first airline, meron tayong JD bus ng mga bata tayo, di ba, may mga didyos, tapos bumaba tayo ng bumaba, naging jeepney, tapos ng araw Mercedes-Benz ang taxi natin, tapos naging tricycle, motorized tricycle, ngayon yung sinasabi mo, hindi mo masabi kanina, pajak. Pajak. We have the most number of pajaks. A lot of accidents occur with these pajaks and transportation. And while I'm on that topic, you have 7 million backlog on plates. Hindi pwedeng gawin na lang ng mga preso yung plates. And yung analytical, sisaksak na lang natin doon kung kailangan. That's what they do in other countries. I don't know why we have to import those plates from other countries. Is that possible, Mr. Chairman, Secretary? Pwede po.
Kapareho nung sinabi ko kanina, yung mga plaka, dito na ho gagawin. Ngayon, kung ang gagawa ho mga preso o regular tao, aralin ho natin yon. Kasi iniisip ko na kung kailangan itayo yung factory na kung saan gagawin yung plaka, ilalagay mo yun sa Clark ho. Alam mo, kinikilingan ko talaga yung Clark. Wala akong preso dun.
Tama.
Pero titignan ho natin yan.
I think it's important.
I'm very open to all ideas and suggestions at
I'm
this
sure
time.
you are, because that's why you're a successful businessman, and you're a successful leader. The other thing that I want to ask is, kanina, and I'm my good friend Linda, I'm glad she's back. Did you just get back, or are you a balikbayan now in the government like me? Are you always remained? Okay, well, you're lucky. You're really devoted, loyal to the Republic. Annie and I know has been a hardworking lady, but I saw a flaw. You said you were going to put pontoons on Pasig River. Is that true? As an additional bridge. But on the other hand, you said you're going to have the Pasig Ferry. Hindi ba harang yung ferry doon sa pontoon? Bumubunga. Oh, that's great. That will be a treat for everybody. Anong parang drawbridge, gumagano'n? O ito yung bumubuka? So makakapasok si Dick doon, kung may boat ako, makakapasok si Dick doon pag bumuka?
Hindi ho ito yung bridge on the River Kwai na ponton. Ito is a specialized
That's
ponton.
good. I'm assured of that. That's important. By the way, whatever happened to the bus system of our country? Hindi ba pwedeng i-require natin lahat ng schools may bus? At para sa gano'n, meron tayong marshal sa bus para yung mga mawawala ng trabaho sa mga lumang bus, pwede magbantay doon. At meron sinasabi niya yung mga staging areas. I used to ride buses, you know.
Sa emergency power, sir.
No, that's not emergency powers. That's called police power. They call it emergency power. But we will support it. Whatever name you want to call it, we will support that.
It will be additional imposition on the school, Kaya mas maganda.
It is not an imposition because there will be a lot of people who will go into the bus service system who will offer public-private partnership, if you will. No cash out sa atin. Dapat gagawin yan. Even for the public school, in fact. Even for the public schools, in fact. So, again, hindi ba pwedeng ang EDSA noong araw ginawa yan, it is meant to run, and I'll bow to the knowledge of Attorney Carlos over there. Ano talaga ang original design ng EDSA? Hindi ba dapat ang takbo dyan 80 kilometers per hour at the least?
Actually, Mr. Senator, it has a speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour.
Yun ang design yan. And
Yes,
right
sir.
now, tumatakbo ng 10 kilometers kung suswertein ka on a good day.
Minsan po, 5.
O, kung may bagyo, hindi ka tumatakbo. So, in other words, gusto ko lang malaman, matagal na natin lahat pinag-usapan. I'm sorry I went into that long harang. Because, nung araw, traffic na sa Murayta UST, FEU, UE. Traffic na. Sabi natin, ililipat natin. Dinagdagan pa natin ng mall. Tapos yung mga mall, narinig ko rito, kung nagkakamali ang dinig ko, nag-aaway pa sila kung sino ang papaboran ng gobyerno. At alam ko may mall na ginawa dyan na hindi naman dapat tigilan ng LRT ba yun o MRT? Sa Cubao. Di ba tumigil doon? Tapos, bababa ka, maglalakad ka doon sa maraming shopping center para makapunta ka sa Marikina. Totoo po ba yan? Kasi ayoko naman magsabi dito ng kasinungalingan.
Aalamin ko.
Hindi pwede. Ano ba yan? Anybody know that? I'm sure you know. Who's LRT? Who's MRT? Oh. Well, are you brave enough or... is there something to be afraid of?
No, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
You do have to go through the malls.
Correct. And I don't know why. Is that what you call regulatory capture? Or in Tagalog, pagka malakas yung tao, nagbigay siya ng malaki kay Dick Gordon o kay Subiri, mapoproteksyonan siya na mabigyan siya ng special privileges para lamang siya. Pwede po ba yan? Sabi nga ni kaibigan ko si Manny Pacquiao, pwede po ba yan o dipindi? All I'm saying, Your Honor, is that we have to be serious. The real emergency that created what our President said, an erosion of trust in the government, is an erosion of our value system. And if we don't fix that, we're going to get hurt again. And we're going to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again. I will just ask one final question. If a disaster happens, God forbid, an earthquake occurs in Quezon City, in Marikina, at the rush hour, at 7:30 to 8, Metro Manila, we have to let our emergency responders get into that traffic. In the Red Cross, because volunteer kami, we have made it a point to get volunteers on either side of the highway. And they will have signs saying, this is an emergency lane para makadaan lahat yung emergency vehicles. Pwede ba tayo magtulungan dyan?
Yes, Mr. Senator. We have this plan on creating an emergency lane along national highways for passage of emergency vehicles.
That's correct. And I think that should be the case because hindi naman masama yung wangwang Kung totoong may gamit yung wangwang, ang masama yung wangwang dahil malakas yung nagwawangwang at ayaw niya makipag-traffic. And so, having said all that, Mr. Chairman, the final point, I'm sorry, I said penultimate point a while ago, 2 points. If you go to some of the areas like Cavite or the areas that literally dinala lahat yung mga walang bahay dito at binigyan sila ng bahay doon, or for that matter in San Jose del Monte or Sapang Palay, I came across a very heart-rending scenario. I went over there, sabi ng mga teachers nung kausap ko, sabi, talagang hirap po kami dito. Tapos biglang umalis yung dalawang bata, one 10 years old, one 8 years old. Mami, go. Sige, go. Ba't umalis yun? Middle of the school day. Ang sabi nila, sabi nung, sir, alam nyo sir, maraming mahirap dito. Pupunta yan dahil iniwan yung mga kapatid niya ng tatay at nanay niya nagtatrabaho sa Maynila para magluto sila. Dahil kung sila ay sasakay ng tricycle, Sasakay pa sila ng sasakyan patungo sa Metro Manila. Lahat ng sinusweldo nila, baka endo pa yung mga yan, or contractual, wala na matitira. Kaya they stay 5-6 days in Metro Manila. Ang mga bata at a very tender age are taking care of one another. And I think that is one of the things that we have to address under this emergency rule. You came from humble roots. My mother and my father came from humble roots. They are both high school graduates. But they work hard and God smiled on them. Sabi nga ni Manny, way kayod, way kaon. Ito kayod ng kayod para lang makakaon pero walang kinabukasan dahil namasahe pa, walang matitira. So to my mind, this is something we have to address in the bill that we are going to push. And I would be very happy to sponsor it. Finally, decongestion is something that we've been talking about. Because of the basis, I remember in 1980, I can cite to you the date, August 3, 1980, Philippine Daily Express and the Bulletin. I said, we have 3 airports, Subic, Clark, and Manila. That time, we have 2 seaports, Subic and Manila. Now, in the previous session, in the previous life as a senator, I came out with a bill called the 321. Subic, Clark, Manila, 2 seaports, Manila and Subic, and 1 highway or railroad. Now I call it 143. 1 railroad, Subic, Clark, Manila Airport, and Subic, Mariveles, Manila, and Batangas Seaport. And to my mind, when you do that, you can decongest Manila. What Mr. Aquino was saying earlier, we can provide incentives, and I do intend to do that, for people who have businesses here to move to Bulacan, and we have done that in tourism, although hindi in-implement na nakarang administration, they can move to a brownfield area and get incentives. Hindi in-implement yan. You could move new pesas between Manila, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Bataan, Zambales, all the way to Pangasinan, and even all the way as in the old railroad, Manila to the Mortis. And on both sides, you will have new highways and an incentive to build housing. So magbibisikleta na lang yung tao, papasok sa opisina at hindi na tayo magsisiksikan dito. At kung mangyari yan, kung magkaroon ng earthquake, may tatakbuhan ng tao. I hope that that will be supported by the Department of Transportation because to me, this is one of the most important, if not the cabinet member and position, and I'm glad you are in there because hindi natin pwedeng ibigay yan doon sa kakapa-kapa. I am glad that you are tall, you have a big voice, and you can intimidate, then that you come from Sambada Law School, which is now the fashion of the time. And therefore, when you do that, I'm sure, together with our help from the UP Law School, perhaps we can come up with something. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, for your kindness and
Salamat
patience.
po, sir, sa tiwala.
Thank you.
Sa lahat ng sinabi mo, baka lumaki ulo ko rito. Alam mo, nakakatakot ho yan pag lumaki ang ulo, ma'am. Nagiging mayabang. Pagkatapos maging mayabang, magiging kurap.
Hindi bale, sabi nga nila sa Batangas, hindi bale, wala kang yaman, basta may yabang ka pa. Yan ang importante. Thank you.
Salamat ho, sir. Thank you very much.
And the principal, for example, examples of that is that we built a railroad here in 1887, finished in 4 years from Manila to Tuban to Dagupan in 4 years. And it was finished even before Jose Rizal died.
Yes, sir.
In fact, nakaliwa pa ni Kiping si Rizal. Naging
Totoo?
boyfriend niya, naging boyfriend ni Leonor Rivera at naging asawa niya yan.
Mukhang hindi ko alam yun, sir.
Ito. Mahilig tayo mag-chismis. To edify my good friend here. Because, pangalawa, we had railroads everywhere. We had railroads to Antipolo, Cavite. We had railroads from Manila to Bicol called the Bicol Express. We had, as a secretary, the opportunity for the poor to be able to bring their goods faster in a cheaper way than the others. Second, we had a modern airport in the past, the Manila International Airport. I'm just doing this for historical background, not because I want to be a pedant or a Philistine or a barbarian, because it's important. We had the Manila International Airport. We had 2 runways, it's perpendicular. And we didn't build any airport until we built Cebu, and Cebu boomed. That should be a lesson to us. Cebu was an airport of the Americans. All right? And it boomed. And then the bases were turned over. We took over Subic. We took over Clark. Clark was temporarily pillaged, but Subic railroads between Argao and Danao in Cebu. We had a railroad in Panay, and we almost had a railroad. That was a sugar train. All right, I know you're from Sugarlandia, but we had sugar trains. But anyway, we had these railroads. All right, so to me, that was one of the biggest failures of our country. Because I'd like to ask you a direct question, because I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. We need railroads. Why did we lose the railroads? Can anybody answer that? Because I don't want that repeated again. Kaya na nagsabi, you need 30 years. Pero kung hindi itutuloy yung programang yan, mawawala yan.
Salamat po sa intindi at sa tulong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Zubiri. Senator Gordon.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and for the privilege. Let me just ask my good friend, the distinguished gentleman from the Secretary of Tourism, the Secretary of Tourism, because he keeps saying DOT. May C sa DOT. It's DOTC. Wala na? So, dalawa na ang dot ngayon? Dalawa na, DOT? Sorry, I'm sad corrected. Thank you. Anyway, I got confused by the terminology. But anyway, just want to preface my statements by saying we became poor largely because we forsook all our opportunities in the past. Would you agree with that? So I want this on the record because for 30 years, you want a 30-year program, that's good. I will support you on that. But because we lost all our railroads, naunahan tayo. In fact, naunahan tayo ng Hong Kong, which has a railroad going underneath the ocean. Singapore has a railroad going underneath the ocean. We don't even have, and when you say that, sasabihin dito, pag magagawa tayo yan, kukurakutin lang yan. That has become our, we're snake bit by that. I will not require an answer, although I know the answer. But it wasn't a necessity. Railroads, after all, are losing propositions. It's what we call a loss leader. Would you agree with that, with me on that, Noel? Secretary Quintanar? It's a loss leader. You lose money on it, but it creates, as you said earlier,